Artificial intelligence today is like the electricity of the 21st century, which is getting implemented across many different businesses. In voice recognition, face recognition, text recognition. How about an artificial intelligence personal assistant which is searching for professional content for you across the whole globe in many different languages? How fast can AI learn a language? Patrick, you are a scientist in artificial intelligence, and your company Loop AI is providing artificial intelligence solutions to companies to improve, I would say, make customer service more efficient, right? So what exactly your artificial intelligence assistant is helping with, in which areas?
Yeah, it's a good question. We focus on a lot of larger companies. There are larger companies out there in sort of the financial tech space, banks, insurance companies, that sort of thing, that have a large amount of data that is locked up in human language. So they might have customer service tickets or repair tickets or documents of some sort, company emails that have a lot of good information in them. But it would cost a lot of money to have someone read all of those documents and extract all of the information. So what our AI does is it focuses on understanding human language, and it can go through, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of documents, learn about what's in those documents and figure out what's interesting, what the patterns are, extract that information and provide it in a format that either executives can look at and understand, or that data science people can take, put it in a structured representation and then do some sort of data science analysis on that.
Your AI assistant is going through tons of data and text and content, right? So it's reading, I would say, English. And in the US, you're in San Francisco, English is the business language. Of course, you also speak some Spanish, I know, in the US. Well, in Europe, we're very multicultural. We have many, many different languages. We're speaking about English, German, French, Portuguese, Russian, Swedish, you name it. So how fast can AI assistant recognize another language or learn another language?
That's a very good question, because a lot of the AI systems that you see out there are focused on English, and most of the models that you might find, in the open source community focus on English. We've had a lot of success in Europe for exactly this reason, because from the beginning, when we started developing our system, we decided to create a system that would not make any assumptions about the language that it's reading. And so it's actually learning the language much in the same way that a child would, as the system is also learning about your data. And this is important for us because we have customers where data might be in 2 or 3 different languages. For example, you take in the Philippines, people might be speaking in Tagalog, and then in the middle of a sentence, they might switch over to English to say part of the sentence, and then in the middle of the sentence, they might switch back over from English to Tagalog. So this is the kind of thing that would break your normal natural language processing system that was trained only on English, because it wouldn't know what to do with the Tagalog part. It wouldn't understand the words, and it wouldn't understand the syntax. But because our system trains and learns this kind of syntax from the data itself, it's much better at understanding multiple dialects in different languages. So we're not only focused on English.
So basically, you feed in the data, and the more you feed, the faster the system will learn that language, as I said, like a child, right?
Yeah, there are really 2 factors that go into how well a system can learn the language and your data. And one factor is just how much data you have. If you can feed a lot of data to it, of course, it will do a better job. It's exactly like a human. The more a human is exposed to a foreign language, the more they're going to start understanding things, from situation to situation. The other factor is something we call concept density, which is just how many things are you trying to talk about in this data? If you are limited to a handful of possible topics that you might be talking about, we can do much better with a smaller amount of data. On the other hand, if it's what we call open domain, which means that people might just be talking about anything. For example, news reports are often open domain because they could be talking about politics or sports or science or any of those things. Well, then, of course, it's more difficult because there are more concepts that you have to learn. So you'll need a lot more data to be able to learn from scratch.
Correct. How do you see AI developing in 5-10 years from now? And what benefits maybe in certain different areas it can bring?
Yeah, that's a tough one to predict because 5 years ago, we saw the current sort of craze in AI was only just starting to begin. We had some interesting developments that were happening in the academic world, and people thought, maybe this will have some use in business. And we had no idea that it was going to take off over the next 5 years the way that it has. So that's one area where I think, in the next 5 years, we're going to see some massive changes as various sectors begin to adopt new practices and new ways of doing things. And then the other is just in terms of where the technology is going. Do I think we've reached the end of the cool things that AI can do? And I don't think that's the case at all. I think we've only really scratched the surface of what we're going to see coming out of AI in terms of its abilities over the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Medicine is a big area for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, medicine's one of those areas that you have to be very conservative in medicine. They can't just come and go and adopt some new technology and use that to start diagnosing people, for example, because you don't want to mess up and give someone the wrong diagnosis and end up doing surgery for no reason, or that sort of thing. So it's slow to adopt, and rightfully so. But we've seen some amazing advancements in terms of, especially in sort of the computer vision space, where we're able to feed MRIs and other images to machine learning systems, and those systems are able to recognize, for example, a cancerous tumor, as well as, if not better than, a professionally trained human would.
What advice would you give to businesses so that they can benefit in the future from now on in using this AI assistant?
Yeah, a lot of businesses that we go to, they're heavily invested in their current processes. Those processes may be inefficient in various ways, but you kind of have to make a cost-benefit analysis of, all right, if you address those inefficiencies, you might get some savings on that, but what's it going to cost you to, just address those? And so a lot of what we end up doing is, looking very hard at a problem and trying to show, what it is that AI can do in terms of providing a benefit on whatever those inefficiencies are.
The bottom line is that business should be ready to accept it. It's educational part, I believe. And then to understand in which areas exactly are the benefits, and that they need to kind of be ready to accept this technology and have the data ready now for AI to analyze. If AI assistant can be my personal assistant and can look at all different data across the globe and professional data I'm looking for, I will be so grateful. Seriously. Thank you, Patrick, for this
thank you very
interview.
Much. It's great talking to you.
Thank you for watching this interview with Patrick Ehlen from San Francisco in partnership with Dukascopy TV, and stay tuned to our next episode of Inside Tomorrow with Yelena.